Shop limited time deals on last minute gifts now at Lowe's. Save $50 on a Werner 6-foot aluminum stepladder. Was $89, now just $39. Plus, get your choice of select Craftsman V20 tools for only $39. And save time and money with free shipping on orders of $45 or more. Because Lowe's knows deals. Offers valid 12/5 through 12/11. While supplies last. Selection varies by location. Free standard shipping not available in Alaska and Hawaii.
Welcome to Meeting Malcolmus, a pavement podcast. Hey, it's JD back after a week away from the microphone. Never fear, though. I have rectified the issues that were holding me back from my life's work, which is, of course, digging in to the work of seminal indie rock band Pavement, listening to a new track every week in chronological order, with the hope of one day, potentially, maybe, hopefully, in Porto, meeting Malcolmus. So before I go any further, really want to thank those of you that reached out and were sort of like, hey man, where's the podcast? Hope you're okay. It means a lot to there's some sirens in the background and they're not coming for me, so I'm going to take that as today is a good day type message, and we'll go from there. That sounds maybe a little more cryptic than it should, but that was absolutely one of those weird coincidences that I'm talking about my previous week, and we hear sirens go by, so there's that. Hey, I get emails, and what I was saying right before the siren thing was, thanks for those emails. They mean a lot. And they meant a lot this past week, especially when it was, themed with, hey, you're part of my routine and you're not there right now. So what gives? That's a neat thing to be part of a community, and thanks for that. So, yeah. There are other emails too, and I want to get to a few of those this week. I got an email here from Gaddy, and Gaddy says, hey again, JD. Thanks again for the show. It's achieved a real arc that keeps me wanting more. The DCB tributes have been touching as well. His death affected me in some unexpected ways. Thanks for grieving with us and taking us through the shock. Gaddy, my pleasure and pain, of course. It's still something that I'm working through. Yesterday was World Suicide Prevention Day, and it makes sense to reach out to your strong friends. You just, you don't know. They seem strong, but what's their story, right? So I would say keep that message going until you're hoarse. But yeah, thanks for the letter, Gaddy. I've got an email here from Brendan as well, and Brendan says, hey, JD, love the show. Love the way you're peeling back layers for me on artifacts I've spent my life with. I made a cover version of Terror Twilight here. You can get my LP on Bandcamp. Would be stoked if you liked it enough to play a snippet when the Twilight era comes around. All my love, Brendan. Brendan, I'm going to archive this, and I will definitely play this track when we get there. So if you're curious in the meantime, though, listeners, you can go to grr2.bandcamp.com and give that a whirl. That would be cool. Lastly, I've got a message from Todd. And Todd says, "Hey, JD, I can absolutely tell Jerome in France that he's doing the right thing musically for his kids." You might recall the letter I got from Jerome that they were playing DCB tracks to their new baby. "My kids are now seniors in high school and college, and they both sincerely thanked me and their mom for playing them great music throughout their childhoods. Secondly, I totally prefer the less fuzzed out version of Here. It really lets the beauty of the song shine through, although the wall of guitars is exciting on first listen. Hey, listen, I'm a Kevin Shields guy, and Loveless is one of my favorite records, so I love that fuzz. I love that fuzz, but I understand what you're saying, Todd. Lets the song shine through and lets us hear the emotion in Steve singing. There was a concept going around in the 90s about artists using layers of distorted guitars as psychic defense. So I think to remix the song in that way was a pretty brave move on his part. Glad to hear you're feeling better, Todd." Yeah, thanks so much, all of you. God, these letters mean a lot. So thanks. And I wish my wife would participate in the inculcation of my children musically. She plays pop radio in the car, and as such, the kids are affected with earworms on the regular, despite my trying to play them, even pop songs from my era, like even some of the more popular music from the 90s. But certainly I try to dig deep as well and play them. Some of the cool shit, like Fame Throwa. That's a cool song, right? And that's, we're down to 3 songs on Slanted. We got Fame Throwa this week, and then there's just 2 more episodes in Slanted. So there's that. Fame Throwa is a mystery to me. And it seems like it's a song that was born of the studio. It is, it starts with that really great rhythm played on a snare, and then it comes in on an offbeat into a guitar and a synthesizer sound, and it's definitely some funked out synth. There's an email that I got. Maybe I should read that one now too. Hey JD, I just noticed this comes from Todd as well, actually. Hey JD, I just noticed the next 2 songs you'll be covering both have a ton of synth. I don't know much about synths, but I'm picturing some weird early 80s unit that Gary just happened to have lying around the studio. I don't know if you've ever reached out to Gary, but I think it might be fun for you to talk to him. Todd, you read my mind, because I have tried to reach out to Gary. Would love to have him on the pod. Next time I talk to Spiral, I'm going to try and see if he can connect us. And that would be real cool. I was trying to get Spiral for today's show to talk about this, see what he remembered. But couldn't get him. He's on tour in Europe right now, and our clocks are just, not in sync. So there's that. But definitely the synth in this song provides the main musical melody. And it's speaking of infectious, it is pretty infectious as well. There's, almost a ringing, like you can almost picture it being a really nice textured cell phone ring back from the past. But more sophisticated than, early cell phone rings, if that makes sense. It loops in around, gosh, probably a bar, maybe a bar and a half. And it, just sort of loops through with the guitar swirling. And then Steven comes in again on an offbeat. And he's singing some weird stuff, folks. He's talking about fame, Throwa, pass out the gold, the diamond, watch the last reward of all the things we had before you sold us out and took it all. Head-born cries from Xena's sluts, asteroids from dead-end ruts. These kids are sick-end wars. So that's your verse. So let's dig this apart a little bit here. A fame Throwa passing out the gold, the diamond watch. So maybe this is somebody retiring because it is the last reward. And the fame Throwa would be the boss or the person passing out that reward of all the things we had before you sold us out and took it all. So maybe this is again, that stark Stockton reality of the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, where jobs are disappearing. People are getting their watches as a token before the jobs disappear, before you sold us out and took it all. I don't know. Dead end ruts, kids and sick end wars. And then we get to the verse. The chorus. And the chorus is in quotations, and it's one of the nation's spies, one of our first recruits. Click with her leather thighs, one of our first recruits. That is, I got nothing there. One of our nation's spies, one of the nation's spies, one of our first recruits. Yeah, I don't know enough. I'm dumb. So this is a challenge for me. Leather thighs. I picture somebody with thigh-high boots, but that's just me being probably a horrible man. Then we go back into, it almost stops, and we go back into the drum, and it starts again. And the next verse is, how can you know? In the distance lies a groa. Need rode off the king, fame Throwa. Son of a groupie, red-worn sexton, spent his cash convincing us that the desert was a startscape, and sold our lives for a satellite so we could cry, naked, naked, foul. I love that. I love that end. Naked, naked, foul. But then we go back into the chorus. One of our nation's spies, one of our first recruits. So really, this is a pretty traditional song in the sense that you got an intro, you've got verse, chorus, and then it repeats with the intro, verse, chorus. Then you go to an outro that is truncated. It almost sounds like they ran out of tape, or they stopped the tape, or whether it was a choice or not. I don't know, but it sounds like a mistake. It sounds like it should have that extra 2 beats off the bar, like it just cuts off, and then there's a small silence, and then you get a proper outro. Now, I would say that this could be one of those Pavement specials where it's, especially from Demolition Plot, where there was song and then like a soundscape. And I would say that this would be a soundscape separate from the song, except for that synth is still there. It's lower in the mix, but it's still there. And so this is definitely part of Fame Throwa still. And, that's sort of where you're at. The second verse, I think, is about this king Fame Throwa. So the person who maybe settled, brought people to Stockton, because there's a part in there about the desert. They spent his cash convincing us the desert was a starscape and sold our lives for a satellite. So that's really a great line. The desert is a starscape. But how many times have you mistaken a star for a satellite or vice versa? You know, all of a sudden you can see it whizzing by and you think, wow, that's a really bright star, or that's a shooting star. And it turns out that it's a satellite. And you feel sort of cheated. You feel sort of minced. So, you know, this is what the King famed Throwa is doing. They were the son of a groupie, a red-worn Saxon. So, somebody that was one of us, but clearly had different thoughts and ideas. I don't know. That's famed Throwa, and that's what I got for you this week. Hope you enjoy it. Let's listen. I got some feedback from a letter that I'll read another time. And the feedback was that I introduce the songs and I fade them up. And, you know, almost like a disc jockey would. And there's part of me that has that disc jockey. So I'll answer the reader who wrote the feedback. You know, being a disc jockey was always something I wanted to do. That's why I try to introduce the song as such, and I don't just play it straight out. I don't know. It bothers you, and I'm sorry about that, but that's how I'm going to keep doing it, baby. This is Fame Throwa on Meeting Malcolmus, a Pavement podcast.
Out the gold, the diamond watch, the last reward, all the things we hid before. You sold us out and took it all. Headborn cries from zenith sluts, asked for rights from dead end ruts. And these ends are sick and was, and these ends were sick and was. In the distance lies a grower named Rudolph, King Fame Throwa, son of groupie, bed-worn Saxon. Spent his cash convincing us that the desert was a starscape. Took our lives for satellites so we could cry naked, naked, foul. It's one of our nation's spies. It's one of our first recruits. I cling with a leather thighs. One of my
Meeting Malcolmus, a pavement podcast, is a weekly affair. I'm social. Check me out at Meeting Malcolmus. And be a dear. Subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts.
When you visit Arizona, time is measured in moments, not minutes. Like the moment you see the Grand Canyon for the first time. Visit a new state of mind. Learn more at hereyouareaz.com.